Morning everybody, the license plate registrations are out for this week, so let's discuss them, and I will also tell you in this video why I think it's a bad number to watch. So let's dive into that. As always, we are discussing it here in our Patreon community, all members chat. By the way, you can join that and support the channel, become a member via patreon.com/dongxi. And then in here, Kai posted it first, 4,700 deliveries for NIO, Li Auto 7,800 and XPeng at 2,600. I also posted this chart here, which is basically showing a month to date. This is also including some gasoline cars. So Mercedes-Benz up there leading the board with 40,700-ish for the whole month already. So this is the Chinese symbol for 10,000. You need to multiply that. Then Audi and BMW up there as well, similar numbers. So you see this is the total serviceable market, the potential here for the upcoming brands like Li Auto, NIO, and so on. Li Auto doing well, actually in front of Tesla here, so you might get excited about this. However, keep in mind that Tesla is usually prioritizing exports to other countries first. Giga Shanghai at this point in time is producing cars that are going on ships elsewhere. Later on in the quarter, they will shift to domestic distribution. Now, NIO's doing quite well here. It's beating Lexus and Volvo. So that is exactly the goal that NIO has announced before. They want to compete with Lexus and overtake them during this year. So that's a bit of a perspective. I really like the longer outlooks here in comparison to the weeklies. However, I would go as so far and nowadays say that watching deliveries actually doesn't make too much sense at all if you think that this is what makes the stock price go up. Do you want a proof for that? Let's look at NIO versus XPeng. These are the weekly deliveries, and as you can see, since a couple of weeks now, NIO is actually outperforming XPeng on the weekly numbers. In fact, XPeng is not showing any traction at all, so kind of stuck here at those 2,500 deliveries per month. NIO has, got rid of a lot of problems there, it seems, and is ramping up. So the trajectory is up, the trend break is there, so that should be good for the stock, right? Well, the truth is that XPeng stock is actually up 61% in the period that I've just shown with the deliveries, while NIO is only up 20%. So it seems like that the outperformance on deliveries is actually not making any sense for NIO here and is not helping the share price much. You would have done much better investing in XPeng compared to NIO. So that tells me, as there are a lot of retail investors in NIO's stock, making up a large portion of the trading volume and the float, we are primed to look at those delivery numbers, and over the couple of last months we have been very, very disappointed with that, and we are now very cautious in getting back into the NIO stock. Sentiment is all-time lows, and despite the fact that NIO is actually doing much better here than XPeng on the fundamentals, nobody cares. NIO stock still doesn't get as much traction as XPeng is getting, and the same goes for the funds who possibly have some trust issues with NIO management currently. It just tells me that there is something else that NIO as a company has to work on other than the deliveries, and the discussions that I see in all of the investors group of NIO are very much centered around the delivery numbers. This is what we have primed to watch each and every day. And I think that is possibly a mistake, because by now everybody knows that XPeng would actually have to sell double the amount of NIO at least in order to compare to NIO even. They're in a entirely different range segment. NIO is selling at higher average sales prices. Actually, also with the volume going up for NIO cars, this will help the NIO margins to recover as well. And those margins will ultimately be higher, at least at an absolute level, than XPeng's margins there. So even from a financial cash flow perspective, it doesn't make much sense that XPeng is performing better here than NIO. So I think lots of this muted stock performance by NIO has to do with the sentiment of retail investors, and on top of that, for example, these outlooks here that see NIO as a smaller company ultimately than, for example, Li Auto, and only are looking at 43 billion of total sales 2030 and beyond. I think unless investors do a little bit more of fundamental research and see what NIO is setting up there on the long run, that outlook may not change. And then in addition to that, there's the worry about NIO's cash burn and financials which are looking not as good as those of the competitors of Li Auto and even Xiaopeng. So in my views, I'd rather analyze the fundamentals and the long-term outlook of NIO as well as some of these metrics that I've just mentioned instead of just plainly looking at the delivery numbers. But that's just me. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Please like and share. Consider to become a patron and help this channel. And then thanks for watching and see you in the next videos.